Hey guys, it's Miss Witt. Sorry that I can't be there today, but I am at jury selection, which means that I am was called up for jury duty, and so there are a bunch of different criminal trials happening over the next 2 months at the Knox County Courthouse, and I might end up being on one of the juries for one of those trials. So I'm super bummed to not be there, but I'm pretty excited to get to be part of the process that allows people in our country to have a trial and have the evidence heard by a group of their peers that live in their community to try and give people the right to defend themselves and just have the people decide if they are guilty of the crime of which they are accused. So I'm excited to be participating in this process, but also sad to be missing school. So you guys have just gone through and you have filled out your mock election organizer number 1. Um, and I want to walk you through the next step of the process, which is researching the school-based issue that you have picked. So I'm going to share my screen with you here. So you just filled out this sheet with your candidate, organizer, your manager, your political party, your 3 national issues, and hopefully you used the issue guide to pick those. You might have had to compromise with your partner, and that's okay. You brainstormed some school-based issues and made a choice. Okay, so I put some ones that have had people come up with in the past, bullying, having more language options, brimmed hats all year round, school lunch, the schedule, sports equipment, a gaga ball pit have all come up. So those are some of the issues that I'm going to be thinking about as I show you the next step. So on Google Classroom, there are digital copies of all of the organizers, but there's always paper copies. So the next organizer that you're going to have is this one. I made it green, but it's also on Google Classroom. And in this organizer, I'm going to ask you to look at 4 different online resources to help you learn more about if there's any current policies related to your issue that you're going to be campaigning on. So there's the school website, the student and parent handbook, the district has a whole website of all of their policies for all 3 schools. And then the mock elections questions doc, which has questions that students ask to Miss Seeger, Miss Stone, our lunch person who runs lunch at school, Miss Bryant, and what those people said in reply. So I'm going to show you those resources quickly. For each of those resources, you might not learn anything, and that's fine. So you would just circle no and like, I didn't learn anything. But maybe you're looking at the hat policy, and in the handbook, you find the dress code, and you can just copy and paste or write what you found about hats in the dress code. Even if you know some information already, I would go ahead and write it down. So this is like what you found about your topic on that site. So some topics you'll find something on everything. Some topics you might only find information on one of these sources, and that's okay. But I want you to dig around and really try. So on Google Classroom, there's a CRMS policies doc. This has links to all of those things that I just showed you, the website, the handbook, district policies, and the mock election questions doc. So we'll start with showing you a little bit about the website. Here's the Camden Rockport Middle School website. There's some quick links. So if you are interested in school lunch, click on lunch. And I'll give you some information about how lunch is funded. And then also gives you the lunch menus for the month. So if you are like, I want to have different variety in school lunch, maybe it would be helpful to know every single Monday is always the same lunch, right? That could be information to write down in your organizer. Other quick links are the CRMS calendar. So a lot of people are complaining about having school the day after Halloween. look at the calendar, see if there's another day when we don't have school that's a workshop day that you would suggest having that workshop day the day after Halloween instead of October 11th, for example. So that might be information if you've got like have your issues a calendar thing. You also have access to the full year calendar that I show you, the events calendar. So maybe you want more school dances and you would want to look at the calendar to see when school dances are scheduled. Maybe it's academics. You want to look at the 7th grade homepage. Maybe you want more after school clubs. So you would click on extracurricular activities to learn more about that issue. So there's a whole brochure. Okay. So you just got to click around, see if you find anything that feels at all related to your topic. And if you find something that you learn that is about your topic, you're going to type it right here or write it in your organizer. And again, if you strike out on the CRMS website, just like didn't find anything, that's fine. The parent and student handbook. Now, this is quite a beast. You can get there from the school website or use this link. This is an 107-page document. You don't need to read the whole thing. You just need to make sure you read at least the table of contents page. Okay, so that's going to tell you what is in each section. Okay, so important procedures and items of interest. When I look at that one, food services is in this part. So if I'm interested in school lunch, I might want to check out pages 10 to 12 about that. The parent communications, that might not be that important. Student services, character development, academics. So if you are interested in adding more languages, you might want to check out the academics section, 18 to 21. Athletics, if you're interested in sports equipment or equity in sports or something athletics related, check out pages 24 to 26. The rules, if you're like, I want to get rid of behavior slips, maybe you want to look at this rules, behavior rules and policies, section 27 to 29. More academics. If you want everyone to have a computer instead of an iPad, maybe you'd go to the computers section, 35 to 37. Then you have some school board policies. Again, instruction, code I, 60 to 65. That might be about languages. I think the students section is going to be a good spot. There's a whole policy on bullying and harassment here on page 83. The dress code, Camden Rockport Middle School dress code, page 73. So you find your page and then scroll to the page. And I will tell you the pages are not quite accurate. Some people in years past have wanted a schedule. Here's the schedule right here in the handbook. Because if you're telling us you want to have an additional break or more time for lunch and recess, you need to find the time, right? So look at that schedule and figure out when that would happen. Right here. That was page 22. So yeah, we're going to 73 to the dress code. And I'm scrolling. And I think when I get to page 73, 73, oh, it's not quite there. So I keep going because I know it's somewhere around here. And page 75, Camden Rockport Middle School student dress code. Okay. So if you're looking at hats, you note the number 9 is all about hats, and you'd want to write down the current hat policy because that is just helpful to know where we're starting so that you can really say, I know this is what it is currently, and this is what I want it to be. So that was your second resource, the handbook. The third one is District Policies website. Now, this is an interesting one. And again, this is one we're going to have to do some digging. So these are for the whole district. And there's different sections with different folders. I would say the ones that are going to be most important to you guys. Section E, which is support services, including food services, if you care about lunch. Section I, instruction. So that's going to be academics, if you're interested in languages. Section J is policies on students. And then also, actually, if you are interested in money for something, if your proposal requires money, Section D is going to be about how the district spends money. So those are going to be the ones that are going to be most important for you guys to check out. Section D for money, support services. So that would include food, transportation, instruction. That's going to be academics, student policies. So behavior policies, dress code, Section J. Okay. And so say I wanted to look at the student policies, I'd go to Section J. And then in here, I'm just scrolling through, right? So I see, oh, here's one. Student use of cellular telephones and other electronic devices. Some of you guys wanted cell phones during break time. Here's the district policy on students using phones. So you would want to click on this, read through that policy, see what you've learned. The board, yeah. So that is their policy cross-reference. There's also rules for student use of cell phones and other electronic devices, which I think I would also want to check out that one because this is saying that in general, the use of personal electronic devices is prohibited during the school day at CRMS and CRES. So the district policy is you can't use your phones during the day. Let's go back to see if we can find rules for student use of cell phones. Okay. So this is the policy across the schools. So you would want to read that as well and write down what the current policy is if you want to advocate for cell phones. So you click through and find anything bullying. There's policies about bullying. Student organizations, if you wanted a new club. So these are, you're just going to have to click through and find what you can find that's related to your topic. And again, anything that you find, write it down. Finally, the last source that I want to show you guys is the mock elections questions doc. So last year, students emailed questions to Miss Stone, Miss Seeger, Miss Bryant. Or actually, I put them on a document and those people responded to them. So you can see what Miss Stone said about these different topics last year. And I organized them by topics. So sports questions, gaga ball questions, schedule questions, bullying, academics or outdoor education, dress code, backpacks, school clubs, and just other questions. Oh, lunch options. So you would want to read through these answers because maybe you have the same question and now you know what the answer is or was last year. And again, if you find anything, put it on your doc. If you get through that, there is another organizer for you to work on, which is number 3, where is now that you know a little bit more, what questions do you want to ask? So what questions do you have for the adults in our school who make the decisions, make the policies? What would you need to find out to kind of propose a change? And then brainstorming questions to ask your peers to learn about how what you're proposing could positively impact them or how the current policy negatively impacts them. So that is what you're working on the rest of class, working on your research. And if you get to it, starting to brainstorm some questions of your own now that you kind of see what questions kids asked last year. Good luck. Ask Miss Beck, ask your sub if you have questions, and I'm excited to find out what you guys learned next class. Have a great class.